welcome to Delta College Impact. I'm Roger Waller, your host for today's show. Today we're going to be talking about technology, and specifically the internet and some of the distance education programs that we offer here at Delta College. Joining me on the first half of the program, we have Dean Catherine Campbell, our Dean of Instructional Development, and June Gillum, our English instructor who's leading the way on some of our internet classes here at Delta. Let's begin with Dean Campbell. Catherine, what's a Dean of Instructional Development really do?
Oh, well, a number of things. But today we're focusing on distance learning, so that's one of my responsibilities. And I'm real pleased that you asked me to join you today to talk about one of the exciting options that we have for students in terms of distance learning.
And I know internet is only one part of that. And if we talk about distance education, and a lot of people hear about that as you hear about some of the new waves in education that we're seeing in the newspaper. But what's distance education mean here at Delta?
Well, people use distance education and distance learning, I think, interchangeably, but I like to use distance learning because I think it focuses on the process. But distance learning really is a situation where the instructor and the students are physically separated. We're used to a traditional classroom where we go to a class at a specific time, a specific room, and the instructor is there lecturing, or you do some activity or discussion. Everyone leaves at the same time. In distance learning, again, the instructor is separated from the students, so they have to communicate in some way. And usually it's through technology, such as the telephone or fax, or the email, internet.
And so we talked about distance learning and distance education. What are some of the different approaches that we use here at Delta College to try to reach those students who can't traditionally get down to the campus?
That's true, Roger. We have some wonderful options at Delta College. Interactive TV, or ITV we call it, telecourses, and of course internet. I can tell you a little bit about ITV, although our focus is on internet courses. ITV, again, the instructor is physically separated from students who go to a remote site. We have 4 of them in our district, one in Tracy, one in Manteca, Calaveras, and Jackson. Students go there, but the teacher teaches from a classroom here at Delta College, and students can see the instructor and the other people in that particular classroom via TV monitor. But conversation goes on via microphones. So they are distanced, but they are at a certain place at a certain time. That's interactive TV. We run about 15 courses a semester, so we have some options for students there. Telecourses are videos that are professionally produced. They're wonderful, and students can be much more flexible in their learning with telecourses. As you know, because sometimes we put them over the air on a PBS station, they can record those videos, or they can rent the videos or see them through the Delta College Library, or get them on loan from maybe a local library. So there's tremendous amount of flexibility. Students do communicate by voicemail or by email, or they come to some designated meetings on campus. So telecourses we do about 2 a semester, and again, they're an option. They provide more flexibility, I think, than ITV, for example. And then we have the internet courses, which of course is our topic today, and a very exciting method of learning via the computer and the internet.
And that leads us really to talking with June, because so much of these internet courses we've been reading about in the newspaper. And June, I know you were one of the first Delta College instructors to dabble in the internet courses. What got you curious about being one of the leaders really here on campus in the internet?
Well, personally, I'm actually an internet student myself, Roger. I'm an online student in a PhD program where we have our courses on the internet. So I had been involved from the other side of the desk, so to speak. So I was really interested in being able to help develop an internet class for Delta students.
And what was it that said, I think from a technology standpoint, you're an English instructor, and did it seem to fit the technology so that that would be a compatible fit into the internet for an English course?
I think it's a wonderful fit for English classes because we have a website that gives all the instructions and all the assignments. So the students really have to practice their reading skills by reading the website, and then the students use a discussion group to post their writings into, and they read that and they respond to each other's writings in that, and it creates a community of writers. That's what I was hoping it would do, and it's really doing that.
And I think that that's great. Now, I also understand that it's not easy to start to put together an internet class. And Catherine, you might talk about the process that Delta went through to really be kicking off the internet program here.
Well, one of the things that we wanted to do was to enable instructors to have the kind of support that they might need to put these courses together. So the way we did it, and many other institutions did it, is that we wrote a grant. And we were able to get some money, which allowed us to get resources available to us and support technical resources.
And we're going to take a look at June's website. And June, as we take a look at your website, maybe what we can do is have you walk through a little bit and tell our audience what they're actually looking at as they go to your website.
Well, you can think of this, Roger, as the front porch of the website. This is the opening page, Welcome to English 1A. It gives a little information, then you click into the maze to get into the house, so to speak, and on the left-hand side there, you could think of that as the hallway, and now we're in one of the rooms. This is giving all the course information, the technical things, you know, the prerequisites that you need for the class. When are the holidays? There are some formal holidays, so we have those listed. And then I have my name and email address and some of the helpers' names. The time commitment, how much time should the students expect to be spending. This is giving them the idea of how the grading system works. It's just, of course, the traditional A through F.
And so anybody with a basically internet connection can get into your website at that point in time.
Right, right. Anybody can. And this little list here is like the hallway to the website. You can find any of the pages by scrolling up and down that. And then this is my little lecture. This is what I write each week as a sort of an update for my lecture. And then that's one way to communicate with the students. And then I also email with the students and I telephone the students. Here's one of their first assignments called Your Signature, when they create their little automatic signature on the bottom of their email. It's kind of fun to do.
And so you really, without having the students sitting in a classroom, get an opportunity to get to know your student via email and a variety of other technical ways.
Yeah, we really do. I feel that I know them very well. Right here, you're entering the name to get into the discussion group server area. The place where they post their writings, which is the way I'm really learning who they are, goes into a private discussion group. So they have to put in their name and their password to get in there. So not anybody can get into that piece. So they're protected.
And so that does give that student in the classroom the sense that I'm in with my regular group at that point in time.
Right. And then we have a lot of little animations. We've had a wonderful designer for our web that's co-created it with me, and his name is Jason Lehman, and he created a lot of the design on the pages. We're always upgrading it, though, and updating it. But this was a brainstorming to illustrate the idea of brainstorming in writing, which is an important pre-writing technique for writing essays. So all the essay assignments have their own page and various little graphics to help illustrate the points I'm trying to get across on that page.
And so you really have made it very visually interesting with, like you say, the graphics and a variety of ways of presenting the information on your pages.
I think it's fascinating, actually. And here's the iSearch project. So this is where they're doing searching for information on the internet. So you see the little magnifying glass to search for information. And this is another series of links to information on how to search. Of course, the internet is a huge reservoir of information for them. So it's really fun to have them use it to help them with their writing projects.
Well, and I think after we went into your maze, I think we're coming out of your maze with a better sense of what goes into your internet site. So fantastic job. Now, I'm kind of fearful to ask this question, but how many hours did you invest to put together your internet site?
Well, since it was a beginning project, naturally it took longer than it would take me the next time. But I probably put in 15 to 20 hours a week in the semester before it was actually up and running. I'm hoping that it wouldn't take that long again.
Now, Catherine, you talked about the grant that Delta received to really help get us off and running into the internet. Now, what sort of support services does a faculty member receive from the campus as they start to put together that internet site?
Well, as June and others have experienced, we have wonderful technology support through our computer information services. I understand you're going to have an upcoming show talking about multimedia. And I think that really is the essence from what I've discussed with, and I think June would concur in with John Grove, who's coming on later, that this technology support has been really one of the key factors that we really needed to get started. Aside from that is, of course, the interest and the motivation on the part of the faculty member. We try to give as much support as that we can to help them along. But
I've
June
felt
and
very
John done a
supported
tremendous
by
job.
Catherine and by the technical people. Matt Rosen and Ann Zink and Lee Bellarmino have helped us a lot.
And that's really one of the keys. I think the audience, as they had a chance to visit your site, saw that it's visually interesting as well as having the regular course content that a student would run into in a normal English 1A class taught in the traditional classroom. And I think that that's really the important part, because I know, Catherine, as you look at balancing distance education requirements versus the traditional classroom, how do you ensure that the content is going to be the same?
Well, Roger, it's a good question, and I think people somewhat are really concerned about that. But at some level, I think the distance learning is somewhat over-scrutinized. The fact is that all of our courses at Delta College go through our curriculum committee. They meet the requirements of the faculty. We're very comfortable with the content. Otherwise, they wouldn't be approved to be offered. So we're really talking about a different process here of learning. But what you receive in the classroom, what you learn is quality. It's the same as if you learn in a traditional classroom.
And I would imagine, June, that means that if I have the assignments from English 1A on the internet or the assignments on English 1A in the classroom, they're going to be the same?
They're absolutely the same. I took the assignments all from our department handbook that we give all new teachers that communicates what we're expecting in an English 1A class. So every single assignment in there is the same one as our so-called official set of assignments.
And I think that that's terrific, because one of the things that you can think about is, as a student, you want to learn and you come to Delta College to learn, and whether you're going to be learning through a distance education course or not, you're going to be learning the same challenging information. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come back and talk more with another internet instructor as we learn more about Delta College and the internet. So stay tuned after these two brief public service messages.
Delta College invites San Joaquin County children and teens to the adventure of a lifetime. Sign up now for unique educational experiences in the performing arts, music, science, crafts, and adventures in reading and math. Parents, don't miss this opportunity to enrich your children's learning experience with exciting and innovative educational programs. The adventure starts at Delta College. Call now.
Back to Delta College Impact. I'm Roger Waller, your host for today's show, and today we're talking about internet courses here at Delta College. On the first half of the program, we talked with June Gillum about her Internet English class, and on the second half of the program, we're being joined by John Groh of our Computer Science Department, and John's going to talk about one of the other Internet classes that we offer here at Delta College. John, let's begin and talk about computer science and the Internet. Seemed to be a perfect fit, and I'm glad to see that you were really one of the early Internet courses for Delta College. What were some of the challenges that you ran into as you started to think about putting together an Internet class?
Well, at first, as you know, we had the Internet course here 2 years ago that I established, and it was just starting to develop more and more, and people want to learn more about it. And then we received that grant for the distance learning, and computer science course on the Internet's hand in hand with each other, so it's really exciting about that one.
And I know when we talk about your Internet class, that Internet class was really designed just to give students a sense of, what's the Internet all about and some of the neat sites that they can go and see. Now, as you saw those students in the classroom, did you see a fascination with the Internet and that excitement to get into a coursework on it?
Oh, yes. I mean, they got into it so fast and so well, and then you just couldn't get them off the Internet. The labs filled up so fast, and you just couldn't get them off. They were just looking for more information, more ideas out there. Anything you wanted to have out there was out there, and it was just fascinating to see the students just grab at it, and just wanting more. And I think with the development of the courses, maybe it'll hand in hand again, and hopefully we'll get a better turnout for this part.
And I think it's interesting when June, we can talk to you a little bit about the students that you have in your class. That, being in English, with the computer science program, you would think the students have that orientation towards the computer. How did you find your students when they signed up for an English class? Were they surprised? Did they have to be high-tech experts?
Some of them were surprised. That's actually the surprising thing, is the wide range of students. Some of them know far more than probably any of us here at the school know about the Internet, and some hardly know anything. So there's quite a variety of people that signed up for the class. The ones that know a lot, of course, are speeding on ahead, and then the ones that are still learning, they're going a little more slowly and they need more technical help. They call me more often, and we have more conferences with the computer services people. But they are so excited to learn it. It's really fun for them. The motivation is so high.
And so, John, you also feel that I don't have to be a technical expert to sign up for one of your Internet classes?
That's true. Of course, I had on my first day of class, a couple of the students did raise their hand and said, "Is this a class where I can learn how to turn it on?" And I had to direct them to a more of a traditional classroom type and go into that course. So yeah, we get a whole wide range, and some are just well ahead of myself, and others are lagging behind, and you're just trying to help them, nurture them, and get them going. And we're in our fifth week, and it's just great.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal.
Now, one of the things I guess that would always be a question to me is taking an exam. And I don't have to show up in a classroom, so how are you going to test me? Now, June, let's talk to you initially and say, from a standpoint of your English class, how do you evaluate my work off the Internet?
Well, for an English class, we rarely give tests anyway, because what we're trying to do is to teach you actually how to write. So what we do to look at your writing is we have you post your writing in a discussion group on the Internet, and it's not a time-dependent thing. In other words, the student can take as long to write the essay as they need to. Then they post the essay, or whatever the writing is, into the discussion group. And then I respond to their writing, telling them what I see that's really powerful about it, and also things that I think would be better if they changed when they do their revision. But the good thing about the discussion groups on the Internet is that their peers, their fellow students, also have to go in and read their work and give them written responses, telling them what's working for them as readers, and also what they suggest that they could improve. So if they're not clear on their meaning, they can give them what's called reader response, genuine reader response. And so, in a way, the issue of testing doesn't come up so much as the issue of effective writing, making your writing more and more effective to communicate with real people.
And submitting
that's
their
what-
assignments and so on through the internet. Now we're going to, like we saw June's site on the first half of the program, we're going to be going to John's site now and get a chance to look at the type of website that John had put together. So John, maybe you can give us an idea of what you did and why you did it.
Okay, again here, just like June's beginning page, this is my beginning page where they come in and talk about what it takes to have an internet course. And of course we have my dialogue to come in here, and I don't know where we're going. Oh, they forget what I look like, they can visit my homepage and of course get my picture and get information such as my phone number. Here's my course information sheet where I'll talk about their assignments or brief assignments, the supplies that they'll need, our computer labs, my grading course, everything else on it. Here we're going into our weekly assignments, so they'll click into here. I selected to make this password protected just to differentiate between my traditional classroom with the internet classroom, that they can't compare. You know, I don't want my traditional class people to think that they're having more work or less work. It's actually the same, so it's actually working out real good. Here's an example of my regular assignments, and now I guess we're going to take a visit into our chat room. This is where we have an interactive with myself and all the students that want to come in during 2 nights a week. We go into a chat room. This is where they're almost face-to-face, but just words and words. And again, it's password protected because we only want our students to come into this area. And we'll see when we get in here that we actually go into a chat room. I think most people that have been working with the internet or have been fooling around with the internet have visited chat rooms, so they're very familiar with this, where you type it, everybody views it, and this is actually where I give my lecture. We just have a regular correspondence here, which I found out, and as I told you before, everybody's typing skill increases with this because you're going for speed now, so you can get that send button. So, and of course, some of our students don't have their home computer, so actually come out to the academic computing lab to do their work, which we're able to get more internet computers out there. And if they're from home or from anywhere else, maybe they're going to go to the lab for the very first time, we can go give them a virtual tour of where the lab is located. Here's an example of the classroom itself, the lab itself, where it's located within the Cunningham area, direction up the stairs, and then we'll actually go through a picture tour. So those students that are going to come to the computer lab for the very first time will actually been there before without leaving their home. So it's academic computing. The academic computing lab actually set this up, and very good tour. You're going to walk up the stairs and enter the door.
And it really gives, I think, our audience an idea of some of the computer resources that our students have available to them here at Delta College.
Oh, exactly, exactly. We have lab technicians to help out with anybody in problems, so we're there to help them. And I think as we grow in the online courses, I think this room and, of course, all the home computers are going to be definitely utilized a lot.
And I know one of the great things is a lot of times students don't see you very much in the classroom, but they will see you in your chat room a lot.
Yes.
Now, you had a little different than June, and June's chat room is not necessarily live from a standpoint that they may be inputting their comments at any time during the day. But I know you made a point of trying to have a point in time when all students can go into the chat room and you'll be sitting there waiting to respond.
Exactly, exactly. During our first night that we set up, the class normally meets 6:30 to 9:30 on a Monday night. Not everybody is available during that time frame, and we did want this to make a totally internet course that no matter where you are, 24 hours a day, you can have access to it. But I made myself available in the classroom on Monday from 6:30 to 8 o'clock, and then again on Wednesday evenings from 8:30 to 10 o'clock to meet all the students' schedules. I'm going to have a special meeting even during our day off on Friday at 9 o'clock. The classroom is open again. So we crossed some difficulties with the technology, and we're working it along. We're all pilots in this venture, and it's come along real well.
And I know that's really one of the keys is that the willingness to work with students because, as June mentioned, some are more technologically advanced than others, and they might need more help. And conversely, sometimes the machine goes down or whatever the problem might be at home. Now, from a standpoint of your testing, what were some of the goals that you have in being able to evaluate a student that you don't see, that you only may see their work submitted via computer?
Well, basically using the same type of test that I use in the classroom, a Scantron type test. However, here they get to take it online. They do have to enter their user ID and password, and it gets posted into an area that they started to take the test. I have a timer on the test. After the first test, it has 40 minutes. Once that 40 minutes runs out, the test automatically gets submitted. You see those comics, you don't know who's sitting behind that screen. But I really think that the students are really self-motivated, disciplined type students that want to get their education in their time frame, and I think this is what's given them that ability.
Now, June, if you were going to talk to a student and say you might want to sign up for an internet course, what types of students have you encountered as you've been checking your internet messages? Are they the type that really are looking for a non-traditional classroom?
Quite a few of my students have family responsibilities at home and young children, or their job hours are such that they can't get to school during the time when we offer most of the classes.
Yeah.
So they are sort of a non-traditional student, very self-motivated.
And I think that that's really one of the key things as you start to think about some of the varieties of courses that Delta is offering. You learned a little bit about some of the distance education courses that we offer here at Delta, and if you'd want to learn more and contact Catherine Campbell, you can do so by contacting her here at Delta College. And one of the things that we want to do is to say that you can call her at 954-5039 or write her at the Delta College address 5151 Pacific Avenue here in Stockton, 95207. And conversely, you can also contact June or John to find out more about their courses. June at 954-5731 or John at 954-5335. And I really want to thank our guests for today's program, because a lot of us have heard about internet classes, but maybe we weren't really aware of what they involve. June and John, congratulations from Delta College, because you're doing a great job in breaking the ground for internet coursework here at Delta. And we want to encourage you to sign up for a course. You can check some of the internet sites and internet courses in your Delta College class schedule, and we encourage you to watch future Delta College Impact shows. Thanks for watching.